We've reduced our interface to three areas: capture, edit, and share. Capture is basically bringing video into your computer, and that can be from any kind of device. It could be from an analog camcorder, a standard definition analog camcorder, if you have a capture board, and or a compatible capture device. We can bring in from that. We can also bring in from DV cameras through the 1394 FireWire. Can bring that into the computer, but we can also do file transfer type cameras. For instance, the new ABC HD camcorders that are either hard drive based or flash memory based. We can bring those into the computer and be able to edit those as well. In the Edit tab, basically, this is where you spend 90% of your time is editing your video, and I will get more deeply into that today. And finally, the Share tab. And the Share allows you to do everything from uploading to YouTube or Vimeo, or burning a disk in standard def or in high def in Blu-ray format. So that allows you to do all of those things. You can also create files if you like, and be able to shoot those files onto a folder on your computer, or you can share them through some sort of sharing software. Again, you know, we do share to Vimeo, and we found that a lot of people in the last 6 months have started to use Vimeo as their high-end video sharing site. It's a very, very good site. And what we've done is, in addition to tutorials that we put on YouTube, we've put tutorials onto Vimeo. And if you watch the Vimeo tutorials and go full screen, the quality is amazing. So I'd recommend, if you're a VideoStudio user and you want to know some of the more detailed parts of how to use VideoStudio, take a look at the tutorials on Vimeo. It's free, and you get some pretty good information from there. Okay, so as the webinar title goes, it's for titles and working with templates and that sort of thing. One area that we've worked with in VideoStudio is to allow you to have start points with templates. A lot of times when you're putting a video together, you don't really know where to start. The first step is always the hardest. So you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do. So we've incorporated templates into VideoStudio, and the templates are not only shipped with the product, but we also have a web presence that allows you to download templates and be able to have that. In addition to downloading templates, we also offer you things like fonts. You can download fonts that are, for instance, from Corel Draw, and use those fonts within your production as well. It's all sort of turnkey. To get into those areas, you just click on the Corel guide and do the Get More or Do More. And for instance, in this Get More tab here, we've got title templates to be able to have some different sort of styles of titling. We have different fonts here that you can download, different font packs, and there's quite a number of fonts. So that's always one of the things that I'm sort of searching for in a video production, is the right font, because that has a lot to do with the titles that you put in. And also, we also have things like Smart Sound. You can go to Smart Sound, download more music from them. You can get trials of Paint Shop Pro or some additional new blue effects and so on. So there's quite a bit of stuff inside of the Corel guide that you can do while you're doing your video production. So in the interface here, before we jump and put a template into the timeline, I'll just give you sort of a brief overview of the editing interface. When you're in Edit, you've got these tabs here on the center of the screen. In the first tab is your Media tab. This is where your photos are, videos. You can make your own libraries in here as well. So if you have a Vacation 2010, you can actually make yourself a little library called Vacation 2010. Next tab is Transitions. We have a concept of My Favorites that if you use a transition quite a bit, you can actually add it to My Favorites. So you don't have to look at all the transitions all the time. You can just pick a transition and right-click on it and say Add to My Favorites. And when you go back to your My Favorites there, that transition will show up inside of your favorites. A lot of people, even though hundreds or thousands of transitions are supplied, they'll only use a couple of transitions in all of their video productions. Crossfade obviously is a very popular one. So that concept of My Favorites is a very easy way to quickly have your favorite transitions pop up in your interface. The next tab is Titles, and we have a number of titles. If you click on these, you'll see the preview in the preview window. For instance, we have some more thirds. We have some more exciting titles that have effects on them. We have zoom and pan titles, this sort of thing. And the same concept is, if you right-click on these, you can send them to My Favorites. Anytime you're in our interface, you see this little orange button. That means there's more things that you can get from our website. And if you click on that, you can download, for instance, I showed you the title templates, but you can download those and pop those into your library. The next area here is we've got a graphics area. For instance, these are standard color swatches of different colors. You can make your own. You can just double-click and change the color of that particular swatch. But we also support frames. We offer a number of frames inside of VideoStudio that you can use inside of your productions. These are ping files, so you can actually knock out the white. But we also support flash animation. So if you have some flash animations that you've worked with from a flash program like from Adobe or whatever, you can bring in SWF files. For instance, here we have some very slowly throbbing type of stars, that sort of thing. And you can preview all of that here. So that's a very nice thing about VideoStudio 2 is that you can bring in the vector-based flash. The next tab that you have here is effects. These are visual effects for your video. You can go down through these visual effects and look at the different ones. You can preview them on the screen here. We have old film effects. We have anti-shaking. So if you have a shaking problem with your video, you can remove the shake as the camera bounces. We have a very popular filter called Auto Sketch, which allows you to do kind of a pencil sketch of a photograph, and this is very, very handy. The next thing we have is the audio tab. We support everything, MP3, WAV, WAV files, this sort of thing. And we also supply, in the options, an audio music capability from Smart Sound. And what the Smart Sound audio music capability is, it allows you to go in and not only put a production together and use and fit music to the length of the production based on genre and tempo, but we've gone one step further and we've worked with Smart Sound to make a multi-layered music mix. And what multi-layer allows you to do is to go in there and rather than get into a really complicated music environment, you can go in and set the mood of your music. So in this case, I'll set mood of this one. And this particular score has a number of different instruments, bass, guitar, oboe, flute, 2 flutes in it. And you can go in here and manually turn these down and be able to, for instance, during a voiceover, turn down a lot of the sort of very assertive instruments, turn them down, and just leave some ambiance in the background. And you can turn them back up again as well. You can go in here and do some of the presets, for instance. You can have a lot of different effects. So this adds a whole new dimension to the generating your music for the timeline. Okay, and downside of into the main, let me just go back up here to the photo. In the main timeline, you can quickly go in here to the multi-track environment. You can go in and select how many overlay tracks you want and how many title tracks you want and music tracks as well. We, by default, offer just a couple of tracks for a very simple production, but you can get pretty sophisticated with your productions here as well. Undo, redo, we have that happening right in the timeline. We have a quick capture to the timeline where you can capture a graphic from the video you're having. You can also capture directly to the timeline from a video source without having to go up to the capture tab. We have a batch convert. For those of you who are doing webcasts or any kind of web productions, if you use the batch convert, what that allows you to do is import into a file list a number of different file formats, video formats of any kind of video, and conform them to one format. So if you have a whole bunch of old video that is every format under the sun, this will